Mozilla Firefox 1.28 is now available for download. Here's what's new. This release also adds support for playing protected content from video streaming sites like Netflix in the private browsing mode. Mozilla has pushed today the final build of the Firefox 1.28 open-source web browser, which will be officially announced on July 9, 2024, so it's time to take a look at the new features and improvements. Firefox 1.28, which is the new ESR, Extended Support Release, series, includes a revamped dialog to clear user data, which was initially planned for Firefox 1.26, but it needed more work to hit the stable channel. The new dialog lets you easily clear your browsing history, cookies, site data, site settings, and temporary cached files or pages. The dialog looks similar to the one of the open-source Chromium web browser. It lets you clean data from a specific period, last hour, last 2 hours, last 4 hours, today, or everything. It also provides insights into the site data size corresponding to the selected time range. New Clear Data dialog in Firefox 1.28 for clearing browsing data and cookies. Another interesting change in Firefox 1.28 is a Show Trending Search Suggestions option added to the Search Suggestions options in Settings, Search, which will show trending topics and search queries from Google trending searches when you search in the address bar. This option is enabled by default in Firefox 1.28 for users in the US and Canada, along with another new option called Show Recent Searches. New Show Trending Search Suggestions option enabled by default in Firefox 1.28. Another new feature in Firefox 1.28 is called Website Advertising Preferences, and it's implemented in the privacy and security settings with an option to allow websites to perform privacy-preserving ad measurement. This feature is enabled by default and will help sites understand how their ads perform without collecting data about you. Firefox 1.28 introduces a new privacy feature when you're browsing the web without an ad blocker. Also new in Firefox 1.28 is support for playing protected content from video streaming sites like Netflix in the private browsing mode, support for rendering more text / file types inline, and support for proxying DNS by default when using SOCKS v5 to avoid leaking DNS queries to the network. On top of that, the new release brings support for the Saraiki (SKR) language, the ability to translate selections of text and hyperlinked text to other languages from the context menu, the ability to create and use passkeys in third-party passkey management apps on Firefox for Android, and improved audio quality for macOS users. For web developers, Firefox 1.28 adds support for @property and the CSS Properties and Values API, as well as support for resizable array buffers and growable shared array buffers in SpiderMonkey to allow changing the size of an array buffer without having to allocate a new buffer and copy data into it. Moreover, web developers get support for the Set Codec Preferences method to allow apps to disable the negotiation of specific codecs, and the ability to display CSS rules specificity in a tooltip when hovering a CSS rule selector in the Inspector Rules view to help them understand why a given rule is applied before another. Last but not least, Firefox 1.28 changes the Accept header for images and documents to better align with the Fetch standard and other web browsers, and improves the inactive CSS with a new warning that will be displayed when column span is used on elements outside of multi-column containers and when properties applied only to replaced elements are used on non-replaced elements. As mentioned before, Firefox 1.28 will be officially unveiled tomorrow, July 9, 2024, along with Firefox 115.13 ESR. However, those who use the official binary can download Firefox 1.28 right now from Mozilla's FTP server or the official website. Please subscribe Cyber Jim Rachel.